everybody, your host SonGoshuaku here to review WWE Bad Blood 2024. So, we kick things off with the very first match, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell. Now, if you're a 90s kid like me, you grew up on those old school Hell in a Cell matches. You know, I'm talking about the ones that featured Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, or Undertaker versus Mankind. Those were brutal, even as you go throughout the 2000s, which didn't have the huge spectacle high spots you got from throwing people off the cage or whatever. You still had very brutal, bloody matches. And as time went on, the WWE got into its whole PG era phase, and these matches just didn't feel special anymore. They didn't feel as brutal. They also made it a whole pay-per-view, so it was like we're just doing Hell in a Cell matches for the sake of doing Hell in a Cell matches. Well, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, they certainly brought back that old school feeling of this match. And so to go through some of the things, Drew McIntyre, in the first several minutes into the match, he basically busted CM Punk open pretty badly, and he had blood coming all out of him in the head, and you heard the audience go, "Oh, they promised blood." And there was one part where he just goes ahead and he lawn darts CM Punk right into the cage. It was just nasty. CM Punk's whole face just boom, and like the way his body contorted and his shoulder, man, it was pretty brutal. And then eventually CM Punk, he does make a huge comeback with a toolbox that busts Drew McIntyre wide open. You could hear the sickening thud in front of his face. And man, when Drew McIntyre is bleeding, you guys going back to that Hell in a Cell match in 1997 with Shawn Michaels, he had the whole full crimson mass. It was red all over, like someone just took a paint brush and put it into a red paint and just wiped it all over Drew's face. Man, he was the crimson mass. And man, that was like where we started getting like our first close fall halfway into the match, where CM Punk kicked out of the Claymore, and then both men, towards like the middle of this match, they were both bloody and battered, and that's what you want to see. That's exactly the type of brutality you want to see when it comes to Hell in a Cell. And as both men were going at it, there was this really cool part where Drew McIntyre, he delivers a superplex to CM Punk from the outside of the ring apron onto the table that was outside of the ring. So brutal looking spot, some huge bumps for CM Punk to take, especially with so much concern being over, can CM Punk stay healthy? And there was even one part where Corey Graves is on commentary, and he's saying to Michael Cole that, Michael Cole's telling Corey Graves, he's like, "Somebody stop this damn brutality." And, Michael Cole really getting into it, selling the brutality of this match. And Drew McIntyre, he even does a part where he delivers a white noise, to the top of the steel steps, with CM Punk landing right there, back first, right there on the steel steps. Brutal stuff. And there's even a nice counter where Drew McIntyre goes for, I think it was like, is it called like the black hole slam or something, where they pick you up and spin you around? But CM Punk, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but yeah, CM Punk, he ends up going ahead and reversing, and he reverses that mid-air into the Undercon device, and CM Punk, there's like, is he gonna make him tap? Is he gonna make him tap? Because there's no rope breaks, and Drew McIntyre, he eventually breaks free of it using a wrench, which was used as a weapon all throughout this match. And Drew McIntyre, he even teases this bag, which everybody thinks is thumbtacks, but when he pours the bag out all over CM Punk's, it's just instead hundreds of beads. So this is a way of him taunting CM Punk over the whole bracelet, which is what a lot of this started over. And you could hear the fans boo because they thought we were seeing thumbtacks. I even thought we were about to get some thumbtack spots, and it kind of felt like it would have meant something had it done it here a lot more with the thumbtacks. They don't do it much in WWE, but if you do it suddenly, if you do it very sparingly, then I think it means a lot more. But Drew McIntyre, he goes for, oh my gosh, this is the part that had me in the match. So Drew McIntyre, he goes for the Claymore to CM Punk. CM Punk dodges out of the way, and Drew McIntyre lands spine first onto the edge of the steel steps. That was a part, and I don't get too many reactions out of wrestling because I've kind of seen a little bit of everything in pro wrestling, but that right there had me go, "Oh!" because I was like, I know that had to hurt. Oh, and when they showed the replay of it, it looks like Drew McIntyre was able to land himself in such a way where his spine didn't actually hit the edge of the steel steps, maybe like his backside did, but the way WWE, and shout out to WWE's production team, because the way they shot it, it definitely looked like it hit spine first on the edge. Brutal looking spot. So man, yeah, that was something that had me going like, oh, I did not see that type of thing coming. And then after that, CM Punk, and this is the ending of the match, he wraps the chain around his thigh and shoves a chunk of those beads down Drew McIntyre's mouth, and then he finishes Drew McIntyre off with the go to sleep 1, 2, 3, concluding the trilogy. Excellent. Excellent storytelling. I've seen a lot of people, and I'm talking about old school fans who have watched all the Hell in a Cell matches going back to the original one in 1997 to the day with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. They're saying this was one of the greatest, maybe even top 3 greatest Hell in a Cell matches of all time. It is certainly, to me, I would say the best Hell in a Cell match we've had since The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar had their second Hell in a Cell match in 2015. And then if you go beyond that, man, over the years, I think, yeah, you're probably going to have to rank this up as one of the all-time great Hell in a Cell matches, because it had everything. The storytelling was great. The brutality was great. The having blood. And this is a sense where it made sense to have blood in this match. I just thought it was tremendous. Hats off to both guys just for an amazing, what was this, almost an 11-month feud and everything. I thought Drew McIntyre's pulled out some of the best work that he's done in his WWE career. And CM Punk, for all the stuff that people were saying about, they thinking CM Punk, man, he's just injury prone, and man, he may not got what it takes anymore, all that stuff. There was CM Punk fans like me, and I know others, myself, some of my friends, who we believed in CM Punk, and we wanted to see CM Punk make it through. And I'm glad that he was able to come out of this trilogy unscathed and everything, because this man put on not only just great work on the mic, but great storytelling in the ring. This was a fantastic feud, and to me, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, it was definitely the match of the night. I understand why this match didn't close, but when I look at everything, and this was a really good show, but this was the show stealer here. Excellent match. If you are a fan of old school Hell in a Cell matches, this definitely is for you. It had everything right from start to finish, and just a tremendous trilogy. It's gonna have to go down as one of the best in CM Punk's career, and I think that's amazing. The fact that CM Punk can come back this late in his WWE, or just late in professional wrestling career, and be able to put on 3 banger of a matches with a tremendous trilogy, and this is what I'm talking about: storytelling, promos, matches, everything about this click. And CM Punk certainly was the right one to win and go over in this feud. So overall, I thought it was tremendous. All right, so we're going to move on to the next match here. All right, so our next match was for the WWE Women's Championship. The Queen of the Ring and WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax versus Bayley. All right, so this match was pretty good. I was a little concerned about the audience. I was kind of thinking there ain't no way these ladies are going to be able to follow. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody on the show followed the Hell in a Cell match. But to these ladies' credits, the audience was very much still invested. In fact, I thought the audience was invested all night, so that was great. They were definitely into this match, and particularly I want to give some praise to Nia Jax, because I think she has gotten in the best shape of her WWE career, and I want to give her even more props here, because she was pulling out some new moves, some one-legged Boston Crab submissions. She even attempted a Hurricane Rana at one time, didn't quite, land off as cleanly as we've seen other wrestlers who've done the Hurricane Rana, but I can respect and appreciate the effort, which is cool, and that's what Michael Cole was talking a lot about on commentaries, that Nia Jax is basically adding to her in-ring repertoire, and I think that's really good. So that might have been another great reason, not not only just for health reasons, but Nia just getting into better shape to allow her to be able to do more of these moves. So much props to Nia Jax. And then not to be outdone, Bayley had some impressive moments in this match too, being able to do a pop-up Samoan drop to Nia Jax. You know, given how much bigger Nia Jax is compared to Bayley, for, you know, even if Nia Jax, you know, is jump in the air, that's still Bayley's strength, that she has to catch her and make sure she lands down safely. So much props to them. The drama in this match I thought was really good, especially with Jessica Carr, which, you know, I could tell when I was watching it, for some reason, Jessica Carr was just standing there on her knees and hands for way too long. Like, okay, I was like, get out the way, get out the way. I'm like, oh, they got some big spot plan. They got some sort of big giant spot plan that they're gonna do here. So overall, I eventually see it where I think Nia Jax falls on Jessica Carr and completely knocks her out, and this leads out to Tiffany Stratton coming out and attacking Bayley, which made me wonder, how did the referee not hear the music? How did the referee not hear the briefcase being popped off onto Bayley? You know, are they not that knocked out? It's one of those pro wrestling tropes that, you know, I guess you just got to accept and everything. But yeah, there was a cool spot where Nia Jax sits up like the Undertaker and Kane, you know, like the whole Michael Myers thing, because she caught red-headed, you know, with the hand in the cookie jar. She caught Tiffany Stratton contemplating about cashing in. So that was a really cool spot. Hey, shout out to Nia once again, you know, paying tribute to some of the all-time greats, the Undertaker and Kane. But overall, in the end, Tiffany ends up distracting Bayley by throwing the briefcase at her, and this allows Nia Jax to hit the Samoan drop from the top of the ropes and then hit the Annihilator Bonsai drop for the 1-2-3 to retain the title against Bayley once again. Like I said, I thought this was a cool match. I personally, though, I think I would have preferred this to be a triple threat match, because we've already seen Nia Jax and Bayley several times, and I thought that they were going to have Bayley and Naomi sort of maybe like do a pin each other, or it gets to a draw, and as a result from there, what we would end up with is with Nia Jax having to face both of them and stuff. But yeah, overall this match was, I would say, you know, better than I thought it would be. You know, like I said, I thought the crowd would be dead going into this because they would be so exhausted from the Hell in a Cell match, but they stayed up, and props to both ladies. They definitely went out there and worked hard. Of course, if you follow my YouTube channel, there are two things that you could tell are my favorite things when it comes to life in terms of entertainment. That's Dragon Ball and WWE. So, seeing Dragon Ball being plastered for a segment all over WWE TV, oh, let's go. You know I'm all up for this. This is fantastic. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, they're dedicating Dragon Ball. Time on WWE programming is dedicating time on their program to Dragon Ball, of course, to promote the new upcoming Dragon Ball Sparking Zero game. And Xavier Woods, of course, a Dragon Ball fan, you know, using him for the advertisement was fantastic. I enjoyed it. If you are a fan like me who grew up a hybrid fan of WWE and Dragon Ball, man, this right here is what's up. This was awesome and fantastic. And even better, during the Finn Balor and Damian Priest match, look at that image. Look at that image right there. Man, that is fantastic. Dragon Ball's logo and some of the most iconic characters of the series plastered all over the graphics for the ring. Like, this looks like something you would see out of one of those 2K games, where you just put all the Dragon Ball logos and characters on there. But this is legit. This is actually doing, because Dragon Ball Sparking Zero was sponsoring this match. So it was cool, just amazing as a fan of both series for a long time. Dragon Ball and WWE, seeing the Dragon Ball logo, seeing Migate no Gokui, aka Mastered Ultra Instinct Son Goku, or Frieza, aka Frieza in his final form, or seeing Super Saiyajin Broly at full power, aka Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan. Like, that was just fantastic to see. So as a Dragon Ball fan, WWE fan, had to go ahead and recognize that this was awesome, and just shows that the late great Akira Toriyama's influence is all around, just spreading everywhere. It's been doing it globally, and it continues to do it. I don't even play the NFL games or watch NFL, but I heard in the new Madden, or I actually saw in the new Madden game on Twitter that a certain celebration, the team players will do the fusion dance. So fantastic stuff. But that being said, getting back to the actual show here, the next match indeed was Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. This was a good back and forth, fast-paced match. Very fast-paced, in fact. I think it may have been one of the shortest matches on the show, but hey, I ain't complaining because, like I said, the action was nonstop. But in the end, the Judgment Day, they try to interfere constantly, which I figured was going to happen. Damian Priest, he managed to fight them all off, especially JD McDonough, who he sends flying out of the ring with a huge backdrop outside where Carlito barely even catches him. And it even looked as if Finn was going to win because this man was delivering the coup de grace to Damian Priest's stomach, to his back, to his neck, to his spine. They all had to be aching like that, right? But when he goes for like I think the fourth one, Damian Priest ends up catching him and gives him the South to Heaven choke slam and actually picks up the win 1-2-3, which I kind of figured was gonna happen. But if it's the end of this whole feud, I don't know. We'll see where it comes. But yeah, like I said, I thought this was pretty good. Like I said, the shortest match on the card, but yeah, Damian Priest wins. I don't know where Finn Balor or the New Judgment Day go from here, but yeah, nice win for Damian Priest, so I really got no complaints. All right, gonna take me a water break here. All right, so in our next segment, we got Triple H, who announces that there's going to be a new WWE Crown Jewel traditional match for a Crown Jewel championship at the Saudi Arabia show Crown Jewel, where it's going to be the men and women's world champions facing each other for what I can only really honestly tell you is for bragging rights. Like I'm sitting here, I'm like, they're making such a big deal, they're hyping this up, and I'm like, oh, what's going to be the huge consequences of this? Is it going to be something big with Survivor Series? Is it going to be to determine who's the captain, or is it something big for Royal Rumble, or is it something guaranteed for WrestleMania? And it's just bragging rights. So I'm not really sure what the purpose of this is. It kind of reminds me when they did the big, like the largest Royal Rumble ever there, and it's kind of like you know, Braun Strowman never got that match at WrestleMania in the main event. I mean, he did eventually, but years later, but nothing because of that match. He got a big trophy. So I can't really tell you if this is worth this. I don't know, man. It's for bragging rights. I'm not. The championship looks nice. I'll say that. The championship, it does look nice, but other than that, yeah, this feels like it's kind of just for bragging rights, and yeah, it doesn't really get me excited in terms of like how this will affect the WWE storylines moving forward. That's just my honest opinion. But what I thought was the better part of this segment was we had Gunther coming out, which I'm pretty sure he's beating Sammy. So at least out of this, I realized, okay, we're most definitely getting Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. A little quicker than I thought we would, but this is going to be cool. They can definitely play up on how they were nearly like the runners-up in the Royal Rumble matches, like last two or last three or whatever, for the last couple of years. But here in this one, Gunther, he actually called out Goldberg, and they had a lot of legends at ringside and celebrities and stuff. So Goldberg was there, and it's really cool to see that Triple H has, he's made peace with CM Punk, Bret Hart, Goldberg, who's said a lot of harsh things about the company recently, but hey, he's made peace with Goldberg and got him back in the WWE family. So I love to see it. I love to see peace being made. And Gunther, he goes out here and he calls Goldberg a one-trick pony, and then proceeds to ask his son Gage, or tell his son Gage, that he says, I hope Goldberg was a much better father than he was a wrestler. Dang. Wow. And Goldberg gets out of the ring and, jumps over the barricade and is ready to fight. You can just see Goldberg's wife, she was like, oh, she was having fun as a fan and everything through this whole thing. And Goldberg, they started teasing Goldberg versus Gunther here. But the security was quick to break everything up. And in the end, Sami Zayn comes out and just starts beating up Gunther, and it turns into this big pull-apart brawl to help set everything up for Raw. Like I said, I thought this segment was great. It was fun. It was cool to see Goldberg back in the WWE fold again and everything. But yeah, I'm like I said, this segment did more to make me want to see Sami versus Gunther this upcoming Monday night on Raw, and more to see maybe a potential Goldberg and Gunther match. But the segment itself did very little to get me hyped up for this Crown Jewel title match, which, like I said, I don't think, other than bragging rights, what does it really have in terms of good consequences on storylines moving forward. All right, let me go ahead and take a sip of a water break here. Alright, so the next match was for the WWE Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, with Dominic Mysterio in a shark cage hanging above the ring. Alright, so the entrances were pretty over the top with Dominic Mysterio and this really nice fancy car with Liv Morgan coming out to some really cool sounding rap music and everything. And the fans were booing, of course. And they get Dominic Mysterio in the shark cage, and he's completely scared. And there was even a funny comment here from Corey Graves during the match where he says, I hope for Rhea Ripley's sake she finds, or I'm paraphrasing here, but he says, I hope for Rhea Ripley's sake she one day finds a new lover, like a man with big muscles and maybe perhaps Australian too. Well, if anyone knows about Rhea Ripley, she is married to Buddy Matthews, who is indeed a muscular man from Australia. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, some cool stuff in this match, like Liv Morgan. She did like a cold breaker by jumping off the top of the rope and landing right there in front of Rhea Ripley. There's even a part where Rhea Ripley evades the Oblivion by landing on her feet while also selling the damage that's been done to her knee. So that was good. I really do like the psychology of how Liv Morgan wrestled. She definitely wrestled as like the smaller opponent who needs to take advantage of anything and everything she can to work on whatever body parts or body limb and everything she can work on to keep Rhea at bay. So I really like the psychology in the match and everything. And then from there, let's see what we had. Let's see. Oh, so yeah, there's a part at one point where Dominic basically, actually I'm lost my notes for a second. Rhea Ripley, she delivers a razor's edge to Liv Morgan, and Dominic Mysterio manages to open the door to the shark cage, but of course it's way too high for him to jump out. And at one point, and you could hear the audience gasp like and I remember when I watched, I was like, oh, because Dominic Mysterio, he falls out of the cage in the way his body was like, oh snap. I'm like, was that a botch? Well, not a botch, but I was wondering for like, oh snap, was it a mistake or whatever? I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh. And then Dominic stops because he's saved by his foot hanging from a harness wrapped around his ankle. But like I said, you could hear the audience gasp. So that was really well done on WWE's part. Another thing that was interesting, I think this is why, if you notice, Dominic Mysterio was never standing up in the cage. He was sitting down, and I guess this was allow him enough time to put the harness on his foot. But hey, mad respect to Dominic Mysterio, because he flew out of there head first. That's got to be like a 15-20 foot drop straight to his head onto concrete if that thing would have not been strong enough to hold him back. So definitely glad WWE was doing the safe measures and stuff. But yeah, that was a pretty dangerous stunt to do. But that looks like they did it as safely as they could. And then from there, Rhea Ripley, she walks over and says to the referee and says, "I've got some unfinished business." And the referee says, "Okay, go ahead, do your thing." And this is because they have the they had that first person perspective camera on the ear where you could hear what was it called? The audio from the microphone that was connected to the camera. So that was pretty cool. And Corey was saying that the referee's like been caught in like 4K and everything, you know, not doing his job right. And so Rhea, she ends up picking up a Kindle stick and just starts welling all over Dominic Mysterio with this like he's a pinata. And she even says happy birthday to me, which because it's her birthday is going to be October 11th. But in the middle of all this, Raquel Rodriguez makes her return and just starts, you know, beating up Rhea Ripley and throws her back into the ring and hits the Tahana bomb. And this, of course, means the match is thrown out, disqualification. Rhea wins, but Liv Morgan ends up retaining, and that is it from there. And it looks like Raquel Rodriguez, you know, she picks up Liv Morgan, and she looked like she's about to embrace Liv and Liv and Dominic, and she's at one point she's all like, you know, this is the real couple and everything, and from there it looks like she's joining the Judgment Day. So we got 2 female members now in the Judgment Day. So I thought this ending was great, and the story makes a lot of sense. First of all, it's great to see Raquel back. It's great to see her skin being very smooth, because for those that don't know, the reason why Raquel was gone for so long at the end of last year, came back a little bit early this year, and then had to be gone for majority of the rest of this year. It was because she had developed some sort of weird skin condition that was just breaking her skin out, and it took a while to to figure out what was going on. But hey, like I said, it's great to see her back healthy. Her skin is smooth and everything, and this makes a lot of good sense from the story if you look at all the history. So Raquel and Rio in NXT, they were best friends, and eventually, you know, Raquel turned heel and became a jerk to Rhea Ripley, and Rhea eventually went to the main roster. But when both of them became world champions, Rhea Raw champion on WWE's main roster, and Raquel being the champion on NXT, you know, and I think they were in the ring with Bianca Belair. They all reconciled and they were good friends again. And eventually Raquel comes up onto the main roster, but now Rhea turns heel. Rhea's the one being a jerk to Raquel. And I think there was a part where she had turned on Raquel at one point and put her out, which led to their feud last year. Before, shortly after, that's when Raquel had to take her big hiatus from WWE because of her skin condition, I believe. But also, in that time frame, they had Liv Morgan, who was also going back and forth as tag champions. At one point, she was tag champions or tag partners with Rhea and then Raquel, and I think, yeah, she did become the tag champions with Liv. So when you look at how all 3 of them are together, the thing is, when we pick up where we are now, Rhea and Raquel didn't end on good terms, but Liv Morgan and Raquel were still on good terms. So it makes sense that Raquel would pledge her loyalty to Liv Morgan versus Rhea. So I'm liking where the story going. It's going to make sense. You know, people are going to boo, but I think once again, it's one of those stories where I'm pretty sure when you look at the story, Raquel absolutely is justified for being against Rhea Ripley. So I'm enjoying where the story is going. I thought they were going to have a Hell in a Cell match here, but I guess they didn't for Liv and Rhea, and that's how I knew, okay, Liv is probably winning. I actually thought, though, just moments before the match started, that Rhea was going to win, because once I found out they're doing this whole champion versus champion, I'm like, well, they're not going to do Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax. That's heel versus heel, and they're trying to make this big thing as a big prestigious thing. They're probably going to want to do Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax too, because that'd be the bigger match. But hey, I was wrong, and hey, I got my prediction came right here, so that's what ended up happening there. So yeah, overall, I'm liking where the story's going, because I don't know what else you can do with Rhea for the meantime while she's battling Liv. But sooner or later, I expect Rhea to get that championship back, and I'm ready to see a Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley match down the road. Apologize, guys. It is hot in here with all these lights around me, so yeah. All right, we're going to move on to the next match, but yeah, it is definitely good to see Raquel and Liv Morgan back, like I said, and seeing where this will end up going. And now we get to the main event. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus the Bloodline 2.0 in this match consisting of Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. The entrances were fire for Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. Like, man, it was like, I would say, this match was like, it was like a WrestleMania. Well, in terms of the entrances, they were WrestleMania-like. That was awesome. Man, it was crazy, too, seeing Roman Reigns for the first time in almost 4 years walking out without the championship. No championship around his waist. Like, you have to go all the way back to Payback 2020 for that. Like, that was pretty cool. That was pretty just insane trying to get used to it. Even Michael Cole mentioned it on commentary. So this match, it takes a while for Roman and Cody to decide who's gonna face each other. But the match kicks off with Jacob Fatu pretty much eating all of Cody Rhodes' offense until Solo Sikoa tags himself in. They spent a lot of time milking the audience for when Cody tags Roman. Audience was very much hot for both Roman and Cody in this match, as they are the top two baby faces. There's even a moment where Michael Cole, I mentioned this out, shout out to my buddy of Too Sweet Cosplay, Steve-O. I mentioned this while we were all in a chat during the PLE, where Michael Cole, there's a part where Michael Cole says, look who Solo Sikoa has defeated over the last year instead of this year, as if it felt like he was focusing, like he kind of ended up name dropping everybody that Solo Sikoa had defeated up to his win with John Cena, and there wasn't much you could say about this year because he kept losing so much. And they didn't really start building him up with big wins again until right before SummerSlam. So yeah, that was something. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, I'm sweating here. It is hot, but I got my fan off here so that way it doesn't pick up into the microphone. So my apologies there. But yeah, when it comes to this match, Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, they spend the next portion of the match dominating Roman Reigns a bit, and mostly Cody, which is a typical formula that you see with a lot of these bloodline matches where the heels do a very methodical beat down, and then eventually the babyface get the hot tag in and start making a comeback, and then the action starts picking up. So that tends to be the formula that they tend to go with any of these tag team matches for the bloodline. Now, during this beatdown, Jacob Fatu has a very devastating hip attack to both Cody and Roman Reigns. Certainly, he can give Toni Storm's hip attack a run for its money. That's some competition right there. If you see her hip attack in AEW, it looks like their head just completely nearly whiplashes right off the shoulders. Brutal looking stuff. Eventually, though, Roman does get that hot tag, and the audience becomes unglued as he starts laying into Solo Sikoa. Man, we get a cool sequence of Roman Reigns where he goes for the Superman punch, but Solo blocks it with the Samoan so that he can go for the Samoan spike, only for Roman to then counter it into a crucifix pin, which of course does not get the pinfall, but that was really cool. So it's nice. You don't see that from Roman too often, so that was really good to see. By the way, we got a lot of FU Solo chants, so the heat on Solo was very much real through this whole match. There's even one part where the fans start chanting, "You can't wrestle," and Solo's like, you talking about me? You talking about me? And I was kind of with Solo. I'm like, Solo has definitely proved that he's more than capable in the rings when it comes to wrestling. So yeah. And then Jacob Fatu was just being an absolute beast with that awesome part where he does the whole thing where he jumps from the where he's in the ring and he jumps up to all the turnbuckles and then does the moonsault from there. Man, just crazy athleticism. He was on fire, knows he was trying to take out Roman Reigns and Cody, and at one point it's him and Cody outside the ring, and man, he runs towards Cody and Cody gets out the way, and so Jacob goes right through the barricade, but he eats it again. again, and he's just throwing chairs all around, and then Cody's at the point where he's just yelling, just stay down, and he hits him with the crossroads and throws him onto the ring apron. It reminds me a lot of Dragon Ball Z Movie 6 when Vegeta was asking Cooler, why won't you stay down? He's like, why won't you stay down? Pop down. He starts shooting the blast against Meta Cooler. That was like some really insane stuff. But then Cody, he goes onto the top of the rope and he tells Roman Reigns, I trust you to finish this. Once again, another Dragon Ball reference, kind of like in, the Turn into Power when Vegeta falls out of the ring and he shoots his last bit of energy to Son Goku and says, I leave it all to you, Kakarot. It's like Cody's like, I leave it all to you, Roman Reigns. And then Cody does this huge splash from the top rope onto the announce table, crashing through Jacob Fatu, which finally keeps Jacob Fatu down. This really made Jacob look like a monster. Cody taking himself out to take out Jacob. So that was really cool, man. And then it comes down in the ending, closing part to the match. It comes down to Roman and Solo, and the audience is hot. Roman, he comes in to try and finish Solo off with the Superman punch, but the Tonga brothers come out to distract Roman as Solo delivers a spear, but Roman, of course, is able to kick out. And by this point, we end up seeing that there's another guy wearing a black hoodie, and this was pretty much shades of SummerSlam 2023 because the guy in the black hoodie does super kicks, and it's pretty obvious that the audience starts to realize who this is. He knocks out the Tonga brothers, and it is revealed to be the returning Jimmy Uso wearing a new shirt that says they not the ones, or I think it was like they not us, or they not the ones. But that was really cool, and this is a huge pop for Jimmy Uso. And now with the the rest of the bloodline out, this now comes down to Roman Reigns, who uses this distraction to hit Solo with the spear and pick up the 1-2-3 for him and Cody Rhodes. And this leads to a part in the match at the end where Jimmy, after the match is done, Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns embrace, and they're talking about how, despite the heavy tensions, it's kind of like the OG bloodline. Jimmy and Roman are hugging, audience is going wild. Cody Rhodes eventually gets back in the ring, and he's basically looking off, and they kind of have like this stare off, but it's like a stare off of respect, because you kept your word and everything. And so Roman and Jimmy decide to leave, and this is where Cody is in the ring, and he gets jumped by all four members of the new bloodline. And Jimmy, he ends up convincing Roman Reigns, saying, hey, he had our back, now let's do the right thing. And so Roman and Jimmy end up going back in to save Cody, and the three of them, clean house with all the new bloodline members and everything, and the crowd is going wild. And then we hear, if you smell what the Rock is cooking, and the audience goes wild. The final boss returns, and this is obviously the reason why this is going to be main event. And there was talk that The Rock would be there because he was in Atlanta. So Rock comes out with his championship that was awarded to him by Muhammad Ali's widow. And yeah, he's just looking at this site, and the way The Rock sold this was just perfect. He looked so disappointed to see that Roman and Jimmy, his family, was fighting alongside Cody Rhodes to take out their very own family. And there's the part where The Rock, the show ends where The Rock, a close up of The Rock's face, and he's just got this look, and he raises the people's eyebrow, and then he leaves and walks off. And that's how the show concludes. So, man, that was indeed an epic finish. Like, man, that was fantastic. It felt big time. It felt awesome. Just seeing where it came down to with The Rock back. A lot of things to wonder where they're gonna go. Is The Rock gonna try and be a tribal chief? Are we gonna have this three-way of who's gonna be tribal chief? Is The Rock gonna reveal himself to be the true head of the table for the new bloodline? Where's this gonna go? So a lot of intriguing things. I heard The Rock's schedule for filming is over right now, so we'll see where this ends up going. But a lot of really great things to definitely look for in this show. And I would have to say that overall, Bad Blood, it was certainly, while the first match is the top match, the Hell in a Cell, nothing on the show I thought was better than the Hell in a Cell. All the other 4 matches were great follow-up matches in terms of still being very good, and the ending to the show itself with The Rock's return definitely has a lot of excitement for where storylines are going, and I think in terms of just B-level shows, this was one of the best PLEs WWE's put on all year, and that's on a year we're talking about with 2024 that had already had quite a huge turnout of great WWE PLEs. So, man, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where the future goes. And if you're still watching right now, I would also like to take this time, because Dragon Ball Sparking is coming, Sparking Zero is coming out, is that if you're going to purchase a game, I have a affiliate link to Amazon below in the comment and the pinned comment and description below there. So if you want to click on there and purchase the game at no extra cost to you, it does allow me to actually get a commission off of it, which in return helps make the channel, basically supports the channel more. So yeah, if you want to definitely do that and you're planning to get the new Dragon Ball game, by all means feel free to do that. Like I said, it's no extra cost to you and it helps support the channel. That being said, I hope you all enjoyed this review, and if you like to see more WWE reviews, you can check out the link right there on the screen right there, and I'll make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you are notified when my content is released. Thanks for watching, and take care.